I would like stop and search to be used more because it takes knives off the streets, and if knives are in circulation, then there's a risk they're going to get used. So I would like to see more stop and search in the metropolitan.
But short of your new technology coming in that might be able to scan and reveal a knife from afar, I mean, you can't tell officers explicitly to use it more. You're influencing their judgment.
Well, it's about having the confidence to use it more. Unfortunately, in London specifically, stop and search in the last 2 years has gone down by about 44%. I've written to the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, raising my concerns about that. I think that means that fewer knives are being taken off the street. And that's why I am, strongly encouraging...
So it's failed, the curbs that Theresa May put in?
Look, I think stop and search does take knives off the street that could otherwise be used to injure or even kill people, and that's why I'd like to see police, of course, at least obviously lawfully and respectfully using these powers with confidence to get knives off our streets and keep the public safe.
But faith in police and community policing is at an all-time low. I mean, within specific communities, but also women. And how they feel about the police right now. And I recognise what you're talking about here is about knife crime, but at a time when you're talking about community building and faith in public institutions, including the police, you are calling for the increased use of stop and search powers, which you say will be more effective. How are you going to make that work?
Knife crime, Labour would point out, is up by some 70% since 2015, which is obviously all on the Tories' watch. How has that come about, Minister?
Well, you've got to be careful about these figures. You're quoting, or the Labour Party are quoting, police recorded crime. And the Office for National Statistics tell us that is not the most reliable indicator because it depends on the public's propensity to report and how good a job the police do at then recording it, both of which have gone up. The Independent Office for National Statistics say the best measure is the Crime Survey of England and Wales, which shows violence is down by 51% since 2010, since the Conservatives came to office. And the independent ONS say that violence is down by 28% in the last 5 years. Homicide is down. When Labour left office, there were 620 homicides a year. That has gone down now.
Trussell Trust next hour. They're announcing today that 3.1 million emergency food parcels were handed out in the year to the end of March. Is the government disappointed by that statistic?
Well, I mean, the government is doing everything it can to support people. We're clearly, benefits have just gone up by around about 7%. They went up by 10% the previous year. The cost of living support package over the last 2 or 3 years has amounted, I think, to well over £100 billion. The minimum wage has just gone up, I think, by around about 10% as well. So, and we're seeing, record numbers of people getting into jobs as well. So a huge amount's been done to help people into work and then critically to make sure that work pays as well.
But I guess not done enough, or it's not actually worked when it comes to reducing the use of food banks.
We've seen food bank use grow across the Western world. What the government's doing is making sure that work pays, hence the huge increase in the minimum wage, and we're making sure the benefit system is there to support people as a safety net.
With all the pressures facing the government, why is it important to get in the world of sex education for children below the age of 13? Why is that so important, Minister?
Well, I think the report hasn't been published yet, so I don't want to speculate too much about a leak, essentially. But as a parent myself, I don't want particularly younger children to be exposed to sort of sexually explicit content or kind of politically contentious or contested.
The government's plan to prevent schools from teaching children that they can change their gender. Is that something that the government's planning to do? Can you clarify that?
Well, I think that is a leaked report, and I'm not going to comment too much on a report that's been leaked, and the reporting may not accurately reflect what is in the document, which I, by the way, haven't seen yet. But as a general principle, and speaking as a parent, I don't want children who are very young being exposed to inappropriate sort of sexual material at school. And the whole trans debate is a contested political issue, and that shouldn't be taught as fact to young people. So I think there are some very serious issues that need to be addressed, and I say that as a parent as well. But let's just wait and see the actual report before getting into too much of a debate on it.
But you personally would support the idea of banning teaching specifically that children can change their gender throughout schooling?
So I would just, let's wait for the report to come out. I don't want to preempt it, but as a parent, I don't want younger children in particular to get exposed to sort of explicit sexual material or get sort of drawn into these very contested political debates at a young age. As a parent, that's certainly what I feel.
when you seem to be unsure if Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo were different countries? Why should we trust you?
Well, look, I think, to be fair, any fair-minded listener would say that that was a clearly rhetorical question.
This will be part of it. Whether the country can buy that you really are, as Rishi Sunak said, the people who've been in power for all this time to trust. You may say any fair-minded listener would have seen you were asking a rhetorical question. Are you saying the viewers of Question Time were not fair-minded when they visibly and audibly gasped with your question and the way you seem to posit it? I think it's important to try and understand how it was in the room, and also on a human level, how you felt since being a minister that's been held up as not knowing the difference between those two countries.
Well, look, as I say, I was having trouble hearing the question, and I think if you listen, anyone that wants to listen to the clip can form their own judgment. It was, I think, fairly clearly a rhetorical question. And look, on the question of the deterrent effect of Rwanda, I've given you two examples, two case studies where the deterrent effect of that kind of scheme is effective, and yet Labour's plan is to scrap it. They've got no new ideas on combating illegal migration whatsoever.
And look, I think if it was the commander of the Metropolitan Police, they would come on our programme and talk about it, because they would think they need to lead and give confidence to London policing. It seems to me, Mr Philp, what's happening in Nottinghamshire is undermining confidence in policing. It's so defensive. I mean, it should change now, today, shouldn't it?
Well, look, as I say, there are these investigations that are going on. The Independent Office of Police Conduct, the College of Policing. It is important we get to the bottom of the issues, and that's why those investigations are happening. I mean,
of course that's true, but that doesn't stop you as a leader in the public service, speaking publicly, talking to families, showing you understand the issues, their concerns, and giving confidence, yet on the case, rather than defensive, buck passing or pushing away.
Yep, I understand the point you're making. And that's one of the reasons, of course, why the Prime Minister met the families.
Suggestion there could be another defection just before Prime Minister's questions. Even if you know, I doubt you share it with me, but what would you say to those who are thinking of defecting from your merry party ranks?
Well, I think what we've seen from Keir Starmer is sort of naked opportunism. It wasn't so long ago he was enthusiastically embracing Jeremy Corbyn to further Keir Starmer's own political career. Now he's embracing Natalie Elphicke. So Keir Starmer will do and say literally anything to get his mitts on power.
Just quickly, finally, I don't know if you saw Jacob Rees-Mogg last night suggested Rishi Sunak should not just bring Nigel Farage into the party, but bring him into the government, much like he did with Lord Cameron via the House of Lords. But is that a good idea?
I didn't see that suggestion from Jacob. Who the Prime Minister brings into the government is up to him. My job is to fight crime and support the police, and that's what I'm busy doing.